And welcome back to Back Garden Vegetables for Beginners. In the first episode we kind of talked about the ground and everything you need to know about planning your garden. Today we're going to talk about seeds and seedlings and the basic stuff you're going to need to know about that. Since recording the first one and the second one, Sadie, that's my girlfriend Sadie, she's inside there somewhere, she's developed a bit of a sore chest, so we're both going to self-isolate. We don't know what it is, if it is corona related or not, but we're both young, fit and healthy, and it would seem stupid to go out there and to make things worse for other people. So we've decided she'll spend the 7 days they recommend inside and I'll spend the 14. So back garden gardening is going to be from the back garden for the next fortnight anyway. We did manage, before we started recording any of these, we did manage to go out and get some soil and get some compost, and that was before Sadie felt unwell. But if you are feeling a bit unwell, or if you're a little bit worried, just don't chance it, especially if you can. Stay at home, things can be delivered to you. We're going to order seeds today and we're going to order them online, and you should be able to get everything else online. Okay, let's get started. The first question you want to know is what to grow and why to grow it. Now there's loads of things you can grow, and again that all depends on your soil, on what sun you've got, but the most important thing once you've taken those two things into consideration is what you want to eat. There's no point growing things if you're not going to put it to use and if you're not going to eat it throughout the summer and then the autumn months. So think about what you like and consider that for growing. But also another good consideration is the cost of things. That there's things that you can grow for really cheap that cost a fortune in the shop. You can buy yourself a packet of salad seeds for about £1. A bag of salad is £1.50. That salad will keep you going all summer. So, you know, it would seem daft not to grow that. All your perishable stuff, for obvious reasons, it can't be stored, it needs to be transported in specialised conditions, so soft fruits, salad leaves, anything that requires that is more expensive in the shop and can be cheap and easy to grow. Courgettes, another one, they cost a bomb, they are so plentiful and so easy to grow. So it's worth looking at things that you can grow to save money, things that you'd like to eat. And when you're thinking about saving money, I mean, none of us know what's going to happen with money over the next few months, so that's quite a good consideration. The only problem with all of that is you'll get quite a big glut of stuff in the summer, but that's a reasonable problem. Everything you grow tastes better. You can freeze it, you can pickle it, you can even get to know your neighbours and you can give them some of your veg. So grow things you want to grow things that are slightly more expensive and that are going to be easy for you to do in your garden. When it comes to selecting the seeds, I gave you quite a few options in the description of the first video. Marshalls, Suttons, the Real Seed Catalogue, these kind of guys, and they're all pretty reputable guys. The Real Seed Catalogue are quite a small operation and they do heritage variety stuff, so if you're interested in that, that's a great thing. But bear in mind, they're operating at a reduced capacity because of the coronavirus. So, you know, when you're thinking about going to get your seeds, go to somewhere reputable. But at the same time, I've picked up seeds. Where are mine? They're here. So I kind of know what I've already got. That's just ones that I had already or I've been picking up. Now, they come from various places. That's B&Q ones that we've picked up over the time. These ones I think came from one of the bargain stores, and that costs about 70 pence. Charred there for 70p, so that's not too bad. There is an option to buy them there, again, if you're safe enough to go out and to be going to the shops. So I've had a wee look through what I've got and what I need. So I've got salad stuff, I'm going to plant that soon. I've got some tomato seeds in here somewhere. Spring onions, I'm going to start planting them just now as well. A few beetroots in here, I'll give them a wee go. There's my beans, that's for later on. There's more spring onions, will not go too mad. Where did I put my tomato seeds? there. This says pak choi, but it's actually tomatoes given to me by Ruth. I should mention Ruth at this point, actually, before we go any further. Ruth is my normal allotment wife. Ruth got me into allotmenting. Essentially, I went to help her, and now we both have allotments back to back and help each other out. Ruth does pretty much all our seedlings, most of the organising. She keeps everything in check. She's one of those people who just, if you wanted someone in an emergency, you'd call Ruth. So I think we can see a picture of her now. Thank you, Ruth. I miss you. I miss the allotment. And Ruth's going to keep me right on seedling advice because I don't normally do all the seedling. So I'm kind of with you guys on this, just doing it from fresh. So anything you're hearing from me is because Ruth is keeping me right via text and via the old internet. Okay, so we know what we've got and we also know what we're missing. So we're going to try and go to some of these sites. I'm going to go to Thompson Morgan because Thompson Morgan at the moment have got a seed sale on, and that's no bad thing. I'm going to go for radishes because Sadie really likes them and they grow really quickly. Add to basket, £1, 100. Nope, we don't want that. Okay, this is going to take a while. I'll come back to you once I've done all this. Okay, so next we're going to think about planting and what we can plant where and when. If something can go and be direct sown like carrots, then hold off for that. Hold off until after that frost until you can do it. Our consideration mostly is what can go outside and when can it go outside. We're looking at that frost. Remember that website from the other day? And also we've only got 4 small window spaces on this side of the house where we can be putting seedlings. If you plant a whole load of seedlings at once and then have to wait to put them out, then you're just not going to have room for them. You're going to have a house that's overwhelmed by seedlings. It doesn't take much for one of these trays to fill up or a handful of pots and then you're out of luck. So today we've decided we are going to do beetroots, which we have. Do we have beetroots here? Yes, I've got some beetroots thrown in here. So we're going to do some beetroots, we're going to do some spring onions, we're going to do some of these tomatoes, and we don't need those spring onions, and then we're also going to do a bunch of salad stuff. So that'll keep us nice and easy. So we'll get started with the beetroots. I'll put this one up here because that's going to help us out. We'll plant some beetroots using this seed and cutting compost that I got the other day. And that's just, it's much better for seedlings. It's finer, it's got the nutrients they need. So we'll get a couple of these. You are meant to wash out pots, but I found these in that wee shed over there. I'm just going to go for it. Be as rough as you want with this, to be honest. All that matters is you get it in and you can sweep up any mess or mistakes you make like that. So they want to be deepish seedlings. It says about 2 centimeters deep. I'm only going to plant 4 of these because I'm thinking about succession planting, and that's important. That's having veg all the time throughout the season. So if I plant all my beetroot at once, and a couple of beetroots come off the same one, so if I plant all my beetroot at once, then I'm just going to have a glut of beetroot throughout the summer, and there's not much use in that at all. Whereas if I space them out every fortnight, then I'm going to have a steady supply of beetroot all the way throughout the summer. Where did number 4 go, John? Put it back in here. Let's have another go at that one. Fiddly. And I am doing nothing more here than just 2 centimeters. So we think that's about that, maybe? That much of your finger, do we think? And I'll just push that down that much. and cover it back over, and do it the other side of the pot, push it down that much and cover it back over, and I'll do the same over here, cover it back over, and there, and cover it back over. Give that nice wee firm down just so that it's around where we need it to be. I'll go and get a wee bit of water, so we'll leave these here just now. Now, one of the things I do need, and I quite obviously need, this is just a wee houseplant watering can, and I don't have an actual watering can with me. So see here, there's a danger you're going to disturb the seeds without having a wee rose head on it by pouring it in. So I'm just being very gentle as I pour it in, so that I don't make a total mess of it and cause the seeds to go. But you want to just get that nice and moist until it comes through the bottom. And the thing that seedlings love is warmth and sun and water. So you just keep it moist and just test it every morning. Make that part of your routine and see if it's still moist. That just now is too wet, but we're starting off wet. After that, we're just going to maintain a moisture in it. And I'm going to do the same with all the seedlings. I'm just going to follow what's on the packet and the instructions. If the instructions are rubbish on the packet, feel free to just look up RHS's website. That's the Royal Horticultural Society. God, that's difficult to say. Look up RHS's website, the Royal Horticultural Society, and they've got instructions on pretty much everything. That'll keep you right. I've been collecting all this. Should have said this at the start. It's just handy. Anything, cartons, yogurt pots, little plastic tubs. These kind of things, mushrooms or ready meals, are great for little seedling trays. You just have to put some holes in the bottom and you're away. So I've been collecting all these, and I think I'll maybe just plant my tomato seedlings in those ones. Make sure you give them a good wash out. It's not too arduous. And then again, things to consider. What size is a normal wee pot? It's about that size there, so I can just cut it to be about the height of a normal pot. If you're doing this with kids, do it safely, maybe with a pair of scissors, get an adult to do it, you know, the usual. Not the most beautiful, but it's definitely a pot and it's usable, and I can just put a few holes in it to ensure that the water comes out the bottom. That'll do. None of this is going to get wasted. Flatten them back down so they sit nicely. These tomatoes are Black Russians. If you can get Black Russian tomatoes, then yeah, I'd recommend it. They don't crop very heavily, so maybe go for something more traditional like a money maker if you want a really heavy cropping tomato. But Black Russian tomatoes are possibly the finest thing I've ever tasted in my life. For this one, for the salad, I'm gonna add my compost mix rather than just the seedling compost, because that's a compost soil mix I've put in there, the one that I got before we started any of this recording, because we don't need fine compost for that. These are going to live in here forever. The seedling compost is for ones just before you transport them out elsewhere. But I'll give it a wee layer of seedling compost on the top, and I'm just breaking up those clumps as I go as well. A wee layer of that on top. You can see, look at this, just how different that is to the other compost. See it? It's kind of light brown, and this there is a much darker colour. And get them into your hand so you can see what you're doing with them and where they are. Whereas if you're just trying to do it out the packet, it's a bit more difficult. So let's get that right to the edge so we're not missing any out. And then just, come on guy, drop, and then drop. Gently let them fall through your fingers. You will have to thin these out. They're a bit like carrots, they're fiddly, but if you're doing it just like that, you can kind of roll them out of your fingers, and it makes it a lot easier, and it just wastes it far fewer seeds. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I've got my seedlings. I decided against the spring onions. I'm going to put them outside here when the time comes, which is maybe a couple of weeks away yet. I've got my salad stuff, I've got my tomatoes, and I've got my beetroot. They're going to go inside on those south-facing windowsills. Treat them like houseplants. Make sure you put something underneath them to catch the water so that you're not making a total mess, and just check them, as I said, with your finger where you know there's not seedlings, and just make sure they're maintaining that moisture in the pot to keep them going. It might seem a bit daunting, but actually it's pretty straightforward, and it'll be really rewarding when you first see seeds come up. I've said all that, these probably won't come up now. I can try and answer questions online. Also, Instagram's a great resource for people, knowledgeable folk. So if you go on there, you can use the hashtags grow your own food. Don't do grow your own, because that, well, you can, but it turns out that's just a whole load of people growing weed. Grow your own food as opposed to grow your own. Hashtag vegetable garden, hashtag organic gardening, hashtag allotment, hashtag GYO, hashtag eat what you grow. I'm speaking in hashtags now. There's a whole load of them anyway, and there's a whole community based around all that, and everyone's really helpful, and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions or give you a wee bit of advice. Happy gardening, stay safe. I'm going to go and put these in on the windowsill.